8 years. Really? Has it been that long? It seems like yesterday that several of us sat down and talked about starting a church. Talked in conversation with Derek and Kim Tilley, in conversation with Ryan and Valerie Looper, in conversation with Tommy and Ashley Ramkasoon, and my parents and April's parents, and we launched a church after planning for 6 whole weeks, which I do not recommend for anyone, anywhere, anyhow, of any kind. But either way, we started at Epic Church after 6 weeks of planning at Joyful Noise Christian Bookstore. We had a great arrangement with Myra Hanks and met there on May 18th, 2008. It went awesome. It was beautiful. We thought, man, this church is so good. It's going to be great. And then Tuesday came and the fire marshal and the Gaston County building inspector shut us down because we weren't zoned correctly. So we moved the very next week, Memorial Day weekend 2008, to the parking lot of Joyful Noise. It was it was fun. It was great. We had one person in church get sunburned. We still think we're the only church that someone got sunburned during church. Don't tell us if we're wrong. We want to continue to hold on to that record. And then the next week we moved to Greer Middle School. We stayed there about 6 weeks. We could only stay there 7 consecutive weeks, so we stayed 6 weeks and left. Moved then to 322 West Main Street in Gastonia because we thought we were going to be a part of the revitalization of downtown Gastonia. And as soon as we got there, we quickly realized that the building was too small for us. Our vision wasn't as big as we thought it should have been for that building. And our occupancy of 67 people was really too small from the get-go and very unfortunate. And we outgrew it and we tried to get out of our lease, but we were stuck there for a year. We had signed a year lease. We were stuck there. And then people began to ask, where do you want to move? And I said, man, I want to move somewhere close to the mall, close to Franklin Square, somewhere close to I-85. And we found this warehouse on Exit 22 in Lowell, where we are now. We moved here August 2nd, 2009, on my birthday. And we've been here ever since. When we first started our church, we really just wanted a church for the people who were unchurched, who didn't go to church, for people who were de-churched, who had been turned off by the church, for people who were over-churched, who had been burnt out by the church. That's kind of where some of us in our church were at that time and who we wanted to minister to. So we started out with that in mind, and we started collecting those type of people. People who were unchurched, people who wouldn't go to any other church. We started collecting people who felt like they had been asked to leave the church for reasons that just are not, we don't have time to get into now, but they wanted to come back to church. They wanted a safe place to come to. And then we had the people who were over church, that they were just, they were so tired with just, church had become business. It wasn't worship, it was just business. And so they wanted to get back to the pure worship of God. And so we started to collect those kind of people, and here we are. And we all, from the beginning, we collected this, we started saying this saying, at Epic Church, we want to make a place where everyone's welcome, that everyone is needed, and that everyone is changed. If there's a Bible story that goes with our church, it's simply this. It's the prodigal son. It's not the son, but it's the dad. It's the dad who, after the prodigal son has left and gone out on his own way and done his own thing, like a lot of people do, he stands there at the house waiting for his son to come home. And when his son comes home, he extends his arms wide open and says, welcome home, son. We're glad that you're here. And he throws this massive party. And that's really what our church is about. Throwing our arms open, welcoming people back into his house, welcome into his kingdom, into his work, and just throwing a big party. I mean, it's just an awesome experience to be in God's house, to be among his people, and do what God has called you to do. And that's really kind of the dream that we had as Epic Church. And 8 years later, just to see that it's actually happening, and it actually is a place like that, it's so amazing to see what God is doing. And a lot of these videos we've been seeing where the common theme have been people saying, I found a place where I fit, or I found a place where I belong, or I found a place where I feel at home. And that's true for me too. I mean, I found a place where I fit. I can be who I want to be. I can be who God wants me to be. I can be who God created me to be. I come from a long line of preachers. My mother and dad were preachers. My grandfather was a preacher, and my great-grandfather were preachers, and they come from a long line of tradition. And I thought for years that I couldn't be that because I wasn't that. So here, I just get to be who God created me to be, and I am totally different than anybody else. I'm the original Chad Collins that God created me to be, and that's the coolest thing about being at this church. I'm sure it happens at other churches, but I'm talking about this church, Epic Church. We truly want you to be who God created you to be and made you to be, and find a place in His kingdom where you fit. And I found it. It's like a glove. It fits wonderful. And I think people will want to ask, so where do we go from here? I'll be honest with you, up to this point, it's been such an adventure. It's an epic ride. It's been an epic adventure. I want to, sing the song, where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go now? And the real reality is this: wherever God leads us, wherever God takes us. Yes, we've got plans, we've got hopes, we've got dreams, but ultimately we're leaning in to what Christ has for us and where He's taking us and where He wants to guide us and lead us and direct us. And man, it's going to be an awesome adventure. I wish I'd have brought my sunglasses, because I think we're probably going to need them, because the future is bright. And it's going to be an exciting thing. And I'm so excited about this series, these videos, about how we're talking about we love our church. So what I really want you to say is this: I say that you're welcome. I say that you're needed. I say that you're changed. But I also want to end with this: if you're looking for a church home, welcome home. Welcome to Epic Church.